Mother's Day, everyone. I want to extend both gratitude and love to all of the mothers here today. Would all the mothers raise their hands who are mothers today? Okay, lovely. I want to give thanks for all of the mothers in the world, especially the quick-thinking ones, such as the mother whose little girl asked her, "How did the human race appear?" And Mom answered, "God made Adam and Eve, and they had children, and so was mankind made." 2 days later, the girl asked her father the same question. He answered, "Many years ago, there were monkeys from which the human race evolved." So, the confused girl went back to Mother and said, "Mom, how is it possible that you told me yesterday that the human race was created by God, and Dad said they developed from monkeys?" There was a short pause, and Mother responded, "Well, dear, it's very simple. I told you about my side of the family, and your father told you about his." That's quick thinking. Okay, and then the mother who bragged about her son. She said, "I have the perfect son." And her friend said, "Does he smoke?" She went, "No, he doesn't." "Does he drink whiskey?" "No, he doesn't." "Does he ever come home late?" "No, he doesn't." "I guess you really do have a perfect son. How old is he?" She said, "He'll be 6 months next week." We can brag at any age. I must admit, however, that growing up, I did not have a very good attitude toward Mother. I had very difficult relationship with my own mother, devoid of nurturing, devoid of I love yous, devoid of whatever mothers are supposed to provide. My mother was simply unable to give that. I've come to that realization later in my life. And I had a lot of trouble with the concept of mother for a long time. But as an adult, I have developed relationships with mothers-in-law that were wonderful people. I have stepdaughters who are wonderful mothers, and I've seen other mothers and had friends who were great mothers, and I now have a very warm, wonderful idea of what mother is. I just didn't happen to have that experience, so that's okay. And I vow to all of you. So, I looked at the words Mother Nature, and I'm a word person, so I'll get that out of the way first. There's a lot of definitions of mother itself. From the Middle English or Anglo-Saxon origins, it's moder or modor, meaning, oddly enough, to compare, which is really interesting to me. There are similar words in Dutch, Danish, Swedish, and German. And the main thrust of definitions were, when it's a noun, forgive me, but a stringy, gummy, slimy substance formed by bacteria and vinegar on the surface of fermenting liquids. Now, that is derived from mother of vinegar, which is an old term. A woman who's the head of a religious establishment, such as Mother Teresa, Mother Superior, and a woman, of course, who was born a child. No big surprise there. It's also used as a verb to mother something. And this is where it got interesting. To acknowledge or admit that one is the mother, author, or originator of. And nature, the word nature, comes from an old French and Latin word meaning birth or origin. So the primary definitions of Mother Nature would be the essential character of a thing, or its essence, if you will. The sum total of all things of time and space, the entire physical universe, the cosmos, if you will. Or the power, the force, the principle that seems to regulate the physical universe. Ooh, I like that. So the mother concept is a big idea. Mother Nature is a big idea. It is the earth, yes, but it's beyond that. It is the nature of beingness, if you will. So we have Mother Nature. From our brief tour of Webster's, we could sum the definition of this phrase as the origin of everything, or simply the mother of all mothers. So, let me say that in part, I was inspired to this idea of mother by the writings of Meister Eckhart. Meister Eckhart was a mystic in the 13th, 14th century. Strangely enough, he was never excommunicated for his writings because he was very, very, very progressive for his era. You can find some of the things he said with other Eastern clerics and philosophers as well, but he often referred to God as she. Interestingly enough. And God, well, we'll get into God being he or she, because if you think of God being big, God creating everything out of itself, then God must have the male and female principles in itself broadly. In fact, I think each of us have male and female qualities. Yes, very much so. Each of us have the male concepts of being directive, what we define as being directive and being forceful and being, decisive, if you will. And then the quieter female, which is nurturing, compassionate, creative, and implements what the forceful thing does, if you will. So we have both of those things in every person, I believe. Some more than others, and that's what makes the world go round, differences. So I like that idea. There was an exchange between Bill Moyers and Joseph Campbell some years ago called The Power of Myth. It was actually a TV series. And in their interview, Bill Moyers says, the Lord's Prayer begins with Our Father, which art in heaven. Could it have begun with our mother? To which Campbell responds, this is a symbolic image. All of the references of religious and mythological images are to planes of consciousness or field of experience that are potential in human spirit. And these images evoke attitudes and experiences that are appropriate to a meditation on the mystery or of the source of your own being. He said there have been systems of religion where the mother is the prime parent or the source. The mother is really a more immediate parent than the father because one is born from the mother. And the first experience of any infant is the mother. He goes on to say, I have frequently thought that mythology is a sublimation of the mother image. We talk of Mother Earth, and in Egypt you have the mother of the heavens, the goddess Nut, who is represented in the whole heavenly sphere. So, Meister Eckhart himself said, now God creates all things but does not stop at creating. God forever creates and forever begins to create, and creatures are always being created, and the process of beginning is being created. So creativity is in nature, one of the things I believe about God is that it's perpetually creative, and it is a creative essence that creates perpetually, always is creating. That's the feminine concept. That is the mother concept. So, sure sounds like feminine principle to me. We equate what we call the feminine aspect with giving birth and creating, and nurturing, and even loving. Although men are, the male concept is still about love. Love is a universal, pervasive thing. And so each of us has male and female in us. So I honor the female in everybody today. We're all mothers of a sort. We all create in our lives. So, in religion, we talk, in religious science, where I come from, we talk about God as mind. And there's two aspects to mind as well. We have the objective mind, the rational mind, that is self-conscious and outwardly directed. And we have the subjective mind, that is creative and responsive. There's that word again, responsive and creative. Meister Eckhart again said, the seed of God is in us. Now, the seed of a pear tree grows into a pear tree. A hazel seed grows into a hazel tree. The seed of God within us grows into God. We are sparks of the divine, each one of us. And that's what I want to talk about today. That spark that we are. All of this may sound very abstract, but it isn't. I'm very practical about my religious beliefs. If I can't use it, it's worthless to me. So it's not just an idea up here. It dictates how I live my life. And I suggest that to each of you, consider how you can bring your, whatever you perceive God to be, into your daily experience. It will make a big difference, I promise you. If God is the nature of the cause and effect of all being, it's kind of immediate to us. And the essence or nature of all that lives with, or is indeed within me, then I've got indivisible wholeness, I've got objective and subjective mind, and the founder of religious science said, where any of it is, the whole of it must be. It's not divisible by time and space, so there's no less of it here, or here, or here. I have the totality of the essence of this creative spirit within me, as you do within you. And again, Meister Eckhart said, now I shall tell you something I have never spoken of before. He wrote this. God enjoys him, herself, in the same enjoyment in which God enjoys him, herself. She, he enjoys all creatures. God finds joy and rapture in us. Perhaps we're here so that God can enjoy itself, himself, herself, whatever pronoun you want to use. He also said, Meister also said this, God is voluptuous and delicious. That doesn't sound feminine, I don't know what does. Makes me like even more the phrase created in the image and likeness of God. The feminine aspect expresses itself in all of us as creative power, which is imagination, as emotions, that's human response, and as intuition, which is receptivity. And we all have those qualities. Again from Meister Eckhart, he says, the divine rapture is unimaginably great. It is ineffable. We are capable of tremendous joy. We are capable of tremendous good. We are capable of tremendous wonder. Just being who we are. And each one of us is vitally important, or we wouldn't be here. We are so important. Just in the little kindnesses we do, in the little reaching out we do, in the kindness we hold within our heart. It's all vitally important, whatever we do in the world. And I do like the idea of church, the earth as church, because every place we stand is sacred ground. And I love nature. I love standing in the shade of a tree. As a consequence of last year's flower service, we planted a bottle bush plant in our yard. And it was about this big. Now it's about this big. It's only been what, less than 6 months. It like grows. It's on top of our cane field, so it's very happy. But it bloomed and bloomed and bloomed for the longest time. It's not blooming right now, but it is very, very happy. And I love it, and I talk to it and tell it how beautiful it is. I do. I'm like that. So, Mother Nature, it is the essence of all life. It is the essence of my life and your life too. The creative power, the infinite love, the beauty, that which is greater than anything we can see or imagine is within us. It is this mother and this nature that lives in you and me, and merely awaits our acknowledgement to unfold within us as the highest that we are, as the greatest love we can be, as the greatest that we can be as us. And finally, Meister Eckhart wrote this. He said, I once had a dream. I dreamt that even though a man, I was pregnant. pregnant and full of with nothingness like a woman who is with child. And out of this nothing, God was born. We all have the mother principle as well as the father principle within us. And of course, that has nothing to do with our physical bodies. It has nothing to do with our physical body. And of course, that's true. We are, each of us, capable of being directed, originating thoughts and intentions, and we are all nurturing, creative beings as well. There's a book that I really like called Radical Aliveness. It's by a fellow by the name of Richard Moss. And he wrote this. He said, if we truly hope to spiritualize our bodies and our relationships, it is not in asking ourselves to be a certain ideal way. Rather, it is inviting God into each moment and thereby releasing every restraining assumption into a celebration of new possibility. That's what I'm inviting you to do this morning, is bring God into every moment. Bring God into your conversation. I don't mean talk about God. I mean let God talk through you. And be kind and be loving and have that expressed through you as the highest and best that you are always. And let us all celebrate Mother Nature in a bigger way, in ourselves and everyone else. Let us give thanks for our complexity as human beings and our completeness as divine beings. And let us start now. And so it is. Thank you.